Hello and welcome to Media Rumble. I'm Chris and you're watching the review for Spectre. So this new James Bond movie came out on the 26th of October here in the UK, and it is due to come out on the 6th of November in the US of A. So far it has made 41.3 million on the 7-day box office totals for the first week of release, which is a new record for a 7-day box office total, beating out The Prisoner of Azkaban, which has stood for quite a while now. But it was a bit short of The Deathly Hallows Part 2's opening weekend of 23 million, as James Bond Spectre only made just over 20 million, but it's safe to say it made a killing. So let's get started with the review. It was good. It starts off, like many other James Bond films, with an excellent opening sequences. Action-packed, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of tension, and it just gets the movie off to a great start. We begin in Mexico City during the Day of the Dead festival, and there's a lot of excitement. I really don't want to give away a lot, but there's explosions, there's gunfights, there's chases. It really gets you off to a great start. So next we're introduced to Spectre itself, and as is shown in the trailers, there is a big meeting scene where we have Oberhauser overseeing a giant meeting, and it's very sinister. A lot happens in it. It propels the plot massively forward, as it should, but we get to see many different characters introduced, and it also starts off an excellent car chase. So introduced in this scene is Hinx, which is Batista's character, who we've seen before in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's definitely proven himself to be an excellent villain in this. He's a silent but deadly type. He's kind of like that fart that follows around the room and you just can't quite get away from. He's just constantly over your shoulder, just got to be wary of him. So he's an excellent henchman, and he really does the role justice, I think, anyway. I think Ralph Fiennes does an excellent job at B&M. It's a different take on it than Judi Dench had. We've got a kind of different type of chemistry between them. It's not really a mother figure, it's not even a father figure, it's just a kind of shadow of influence over Bond and just try to keep him in line, but obviously he's not going to follow that because he's James Bond and he does what he wants. And you've got the rest of the MI6 staff, you've got Q obviously, and you've got Moneypenny. They just kind of float around doing their job, and doing their job excellently. I thought they were brilliant in it. Some of the points were really funny, and that's another thing throughout this movie. It was funny. It wasn't too funny. There was occasional moments where you just have a wee chuckle, but it doesn't detract from the seriousness of the plot. And there's a few characters that really did help bring in some comedy. So now we've got Andrew Scott, who's coming in. He's a newcomer to the franchise. He's kind of sitting on the fence as you go in. He's very mysterious. He's in from the government. He's just trying to close down the 00 program, and he's generally been a right pain in the arse. But he does it well, and he kind of shows a different side to this spy game that we've not really seen from the Bond films, as he's not on Bond's side while also being on Bond's side technically. I think the Bond girls were excellent in this. You've got Monica Bellucci, who was not in it as much, but there is always one who's not in as much. And then there was Leigh Seydoux, who was the majority of the film The Bond Girl. So we've got her character. She's an extremely strong yet vulnerable character, which is kind of a preferred trait for Bond, it seems. And they really done well with Daniel Craig. And Daniel Craig himself, he's looking very old. Compare him to what it was like in Casino Royale, and that was nearly 10 years ago, but he does look quite old, but he's still looking great as Bond, and he still packs that punch, and he's still really powerful as the character, and it doesn't show his age. He maybe looks his age slightly, but he doesn't show it. And he was paired up excellently with Christoph Waltz, who is a character. He's just a character. He's very menacing, very mysterious, as you're wanting from a Bond villain. He's got a kind of dodgy past. He's had a few run-ins with Bond before, and you find out that there's a lot of the previous Daniel Craig films. They're tied in to Oberhauser and Spectre, and it's all very puppet master. And I think that's excellent. It really shows kind of an over arc of the story to these Daniel Craig films, and if it does end the way it ends, then I think it'll be a good one. But there's definitely a lot more that can be done with these two characters. Daniel Craig especially, I think he could go on for a few more films. I don't know if they will. I kind of hope they do. But as long as he isn't on it for too long, because he might get too old, and you don't really want that. You don't want him to get past the peak. An excellent film. It was very slow in building up. It wasn't as intense as Skyfall, I don't think. Skyfall was a better film, but it was quite a slow burn, but it didn't drag on. It was around 2.5 hours, I think, but it didn't feel like 2.5 hours. It just slowly moved the plot along. You kind of got where you were going, and it didn't have to be all explosions all the time. And that was something I really enjoyed, because you felt as if you got to know Bond as a character during it. So do you agree with my review of Spectre? Have you seen the film yet? You definitely need to. So go out there and check the film out. And any thoughts or comments, just put them below and subscribe to the channel. So this is Media Rumble. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Just makes it even worse. You've got a normal human body, and then you've got this weird abnormal head with strange nostrils and